everyone, it's Jane Mamalny, and thanks for joining me for this scrapbook layout. This is part of the creative design team's Love Your Stash Challenge, and this week we are working with embellishments. So play along with us and pull out all of your embellishments from your stash and let's get creating with them. I was inspired by this layout from the May-June 2020 catalog. And I just thought that this was such a fun layout with all of this collection, but I had so many photos, I decided to sprinkle the photos around the whole thing. I did a little bit bigger border because I wanted more of this background to show. And then I used this sort of mountainy looking background because it is kind of a lighter, more neutral, and I wanted all of my colorful photos to be able to pop, as well as all the embellishments that I'm going to be adding. So I love playing with embellishments. I love adding embellishments because I just love color and design and texture and all of that. But I also really want to keep the integrity of the photos and make the photos the star of the show. So what I'm going to try to do in this layout is balance all of the photos so they don't get lost, but use all of the embellishments to enhance them. I'm going to start out by backing this photo that's going to go in the center of my wreath. I'm backing it with white first because it has a darker background, and I like backing darker photos in a white mat to help it pop off the page. And then I'm going to add the peacock or dark aqua mat around that. I do a pretty thin mat. I think I did about 1/4 inch in total, so it's 1/8 inch all the way around. And I think I should have done a little bit wider in the peacock, but that's okay. The photo could have stood to be a little bit bigger as the finished size in the wreath, but we're going to be adding a whole bunch of embellishments, and in the end I think it does end up really nice. So I'm pulling out all of the obvious choices for embellishments first. Since this is more of an outdoorsy layout, I'm pulling out the Aurora acrylic shapes that go with this collection. I also pulled out some spruced up wooden shapes and some fresh air complements. That's what's right here. I thought that the copper foil would look nice, and the sticker sheet that goes with Aurora that I'm going to pull out in a bit also has some green foil, so I thought just having a little bit of copper would look nice too, so I wanted to see how that would work. These are kind of like a chipboard a little bit. And then I pulled out some collections that you wouldn't necessarily think to pair with outdoor photos. These are from the Little Dreamer collection, which is rainbows and unicorns, and so they had some glittery white shapes that I thought I might use. And then I pulled out Stargazer, which had some of the right colors, this dark navy I wanted to pull out, and there were some heart and star and moon shapes that I thought I could use. I wanted to pull out everything and just have it easy to grab so that I could just see everything all laid out in front of me and grab what I wanted. Then I also pulled out this Central Park collection, and there are these kind of white shiny chipboard pieces, which I end up not using, but I really thought I was going to use this adventure as my title. But you'll see it would have looked really nice had I finished that thought. So I first started just kind of playing with the title. I thought Summer Adventure might be kind of fun, and played with the placement of adventure. I thought it looked nice down in the corner. Thought I would pull out all of the different letters from that summer banner. And then I realized these photos were not in summer. They were in spring, and it was still a little bit chilly. You can see we're wearing long sleeves, so I thought, well, that's not going to work. So I then ended up going to plan B, which is actually using the sticker that was in the layout in the catalog. So I pulled off this Adventure is Out There sticker, and I did really end up liking how this looks. I was trying not to copy the layout exactly, but you know what? It just was a really great layout. So I ended up putting a little bit of powder on the back of that so it wouldn't be too sticky because I wasn't ready to commit to it. And then I pulled off all of the stickers that I thought I might use from the sticker sheet. And now you can see here though that green foil looks so cool. So I didn't pull out a ton of stickers, but I pulled out enough to give it a really fun vibe. And then I used this stamp set, which is the Aurora scrapbooking stamp set, to stamp some trees. And this was a really fun technique. I wanted them to kind of have a blue-green color, so I did some rock and roll technique here. So I stamped it first in the glacier blue, and then I rocked it in the sage to give it a green border. The first one I stamped had a little too much blue, so then I rocked it a little more the second and third times, and I liked those a lot better. So I'm going to cut those out with the coordinating thin cuts. And then, you guys, I was just so mad at myself. I got a phone call while I was doing this and forgot to re-record all of the process of doing all the embellishments, which is the whole point of this video. So what I did catch is after I'd finished laying them all out, now I'm gluing them down. So I'm going to walk you through kind of my thought process as I'm gluing. So I've sped this up a lot because I know just gluing stuff down is not fun to watch. But I wanted to explain to you some of the design elements that I used to make sure that the embellishments didn't just take over and take away from the photos. So first of all, I have balance with the trees on both sides of the title at the top. And then you can see that the wood shapes that I added around the page are balanced. So I've talked before about using odd numbers in placement, and I sort of kept that in mind, but more than making sure that I had odd numbers, since there are so many embellishments scattered throughout the page, I wanted to make sure that everything was just evenly placed. So as I put this together, I was standing up because sometimes that gives you a different perspective than sitting while you're working. And sometimes I sit, sometimes I stand. But when I stood up, I can just see straight down and see if things were balanced and add another wood piece here, or I think I need just a little bit down here. And I did the same for every different piece that I had. So you can see that the larger wood pieces, like the word bubbles, are kind of spread diagonally across the page. And then there's a larger tree up in the top right, of a larger heart down in the bottom right, and then another larger one in the bottom left. And that just really helps things to helps your eye move around the page evenly and move around and look at all of the different photos. So same thing with the blue pieces. I've got larger pieces kind of spread around evenly, and then the smaller pieces scattered throughout evenly as well, where I thought I needed just a little bit more color. I wanted to point out how I used those stickers that have the green kind of triangles. I used them as at the top of some of the photos. So the one on the left side, kind of in the middle, where the fabulous wood piece is. See how that's kind of up at the top, like kind of a border on the photo, and then down in the bottom right again. And then the copper pieces, like here, I only have a few of them, so they are scattered around in a visual triangle. And then all of the navy pieces are scattered around. The photo in the middle, since it is a little bit small, I ended up really liking that, but I added just a few stickers on it and kind of over it to help ground it. So that little saying that's there on the bottom, I think really helps to ground the photo and make it feel like it's not just floating there in the middle. And then the other thing is we have that circle that I cut with my Cricut at 8.5 inches. And that also helps ground the wreath and make it feel like it's all cohesive. And then I didn't glue anything down as I was placing everything, and I didn't want to lift up that wreath. So all of the embellishments and the photos are actually holding the wreath down. I didn't glue the wreath itself down. The last thing I want to point out that helps the photos pop off the page is I kept with the colors of the paper pack for this. I thought that I might want to pull in some pink and purple because there's a lot of pink and purple in the photos, but that's what actually helps the photos stand out, is that they have those pops of purple and the brighter aqua blue and the pink that really help them stand out to your eye, and everything else just kind of helps add some interest and adds a lot of fun to it, but it doesn't necessarily take away from the photos. So I hope that you enjoyed watching me glue everything down and that it was more than just watching me glue a whole bunch of pieces to a paper. Sorry that you couldn't watch the process, but I hope that hearing my thought process was helpful to you. I noticed a little smudge here, and it was a little bit of glue, and used that little rub and remove eraser, took it off just perfectly. Added a couple more little itty bitty pieces here, and then I wanted to show you all of the close-ups so you can really appreciate all this dimension and shine and foil. It was hard for me not to add any shimmer brush because you know I love my shimmer brush, but there was already so much going on that I thought that that actually would start to take away from the photos. So here are a few still shots, and then I'm going to show you how I store my embellishments. I wanted to just show you a little clip of how I store all of my different embellishments once they're retired. I keep them with the collections when they're still current, but I love to dig in my stash and need an easy way to be able to flip through my embellishments. So here is a little tub that I use, and I have a few of them around my craft room, and I just stick all of my larger embellishments that are on like sticker sheets, and I've got my compliment packs here, and I can easily just thumb through them and see what I have, and it's super useful and handy for me. And then this little container I actually usually keep on my desk. It has all of my smaller embellishments like gems and dots and some of these acrylic and wood shapes that I use often. And that's handy to flip through too. And so just thought I would show those to you. I hope that you will check out the rest of the design team's projects if you haven't already. I'm going to link them all in the description below, so click that See More link, or click, if you're on mobile, click that little triangle next to the title of this video to see the description, and you'll see all the links to the rest of the design team, as well as the products that I used in this video. And if you enjoyed, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.